So industrialization, besides being an important factor that led to the boosting of economy across the world, it was also believed to be an instrument of exploitation. British had its colonies spread across the world, and it did not leave a chance to exploit these colonies, of which India too was a victim. So what do you think? The introduction of the rails was to benefit people of India? No. It was only done to make the raw cotton from India more accessible to the British merchants, right? Or the English merchants. So the railroads were mostly or majorly built near important ports from which raw cotton was taken from India and exported to these British countries, from where after it was manufactured, it was brought back to India and sold at a very high price in the Indian markets. So you see how they exploited the Indian markets and the Indian traders. Also, the tea that was primarily an export good of the British was introduced in India. Why? Because these British people grew tea in India at the cost of the forest lands. So these forest lands being cut down for the growth of these teas or tea plantations led to the negative impact on the indigenous people, right? So you see how industrialization, though was very important in boosting the economy, also played an important role in negatively affecting the life of the people, especially in countries like India. After independence, India realized the need to establish its own industries and manufacture or produce its own goods, right? Or rather become self-sufficient. So to introduce or to operate these industries, it definitely required materials, raw materials or capital goods like heavy machineries, steel and many other such things. So to manufacture these capital goods industry was established. So after independence, India first focused on the establishment of these capital goods industry and their rapid growth. So what exactly was the capital good industry? The capital goods industry produced machine tools which are in turn used for producing articles for current consumption. For example, machinery, iron and steel, right? So capital goods industry produces materials or things that can be used as a raw material by other industries. So India, after gaining independence, also decided to become self-sufficient, and so it first focused on the establishment of these capital goods industry, which eventually led to the establishment of other industries. So we just saw that with the introduction of modern machines, human labor was cut down. But these modern machines too require people for their operation. And many other such things are also done by the laborers in an industry. So an industry requires both skilled and unskilled laborers. So we can say that these industries provided jobs to a large population, both skilled and unskilled laborers. So for example, if you remember, we talked about the first iron and steel industry in India, which was Tisco, right? So Tisco, if you remember, established in Jamshedpur area in Jharkhand. So the place where it established eventually led to the establishment of other industries that required iron and steel from Tisco as a raw material. So by providing jobs to a larger population, it helped in eradicating the poverty and led to the overall growth of that area, right? Besides that, we see that industries support and modernize or mechanize agriculture. So we know that with the introduction of modern machines in the agricultural fields, agriculture industry has also developed quite a bit. Right? So we can here understand that industries provided a balance in the economy. It did not let the agriculture industry take the entire load of the economy. especially in countries like India. So from a report of 2010, it says that industries' share in India's economy is rising. This could be justified by taking a close view of this very graph. We see that the role of services and industry has eventually risen. It has eventually risen from 1950 to 2010. So we see that services that initially had around 29% of share in India's economy now has a 59% share. Similarly, industries we can see initially had around maybe 18 or 17%, and now it shares up to 27% of India's economy, while agriculture does not has to now play the primary role in maintaining or balancing India's economy. Right? So the load on the agricultural industry has now been reduced with the advent of the industries or the industrial revolution. So we can now say that industry provides a balance so that entire economy is not based on agriculture alone. We just understood how industries have provided a balance to India's economy and has taken off the extra load from the shoulders of the agricultural industry in India, right? So from a report of 2018, this pie chart tells us about the 5 important or special commodities that has contributed to India's exports. So India has become now self-sufficient in exporting these special goods that initially was not possible, right? So with the advent of industries, it became possible, where India is now self-sufficient in providing precious goods like petroleum products, precious and semi-precious stones, drug formulations, gold and other precious metal jewelry, and iron and steel, right? So we saw that iron and steel industry did not exist from the very beginning in India. It was introduced in India in 1854. So it has only been some decades ago that iron and steel industry was introduced in India. So these have led to increased exports, which has brought in foreign currency to India and have also made the country self-sufficient, right? So we see that India, that was mostly dependent on other countries, is now self-sufficient in providing such special goods too. So industrialization, besides providing jobs to an unemployed large population and eradicating poverty, it also helped in modernizing agriculture and taking off the load from the agriculture industry. Right? We also see that industrialization have made people more efficient, more skilled, more responsible, and more punctual. Besides these, new technologies or the development of new technologies over the years have led to the transformation of cities, a complete transformation. So from the very picture, it is evident that a city in 1900, it looked something like this, has now become this. So you see a complete transformation. The look has completely changed. Many structural changes have also occurred, and it looks more modern or more beautiful rather, right? We also see that a city in 1930, which looked like this, is now looking like this. So you see how beautiful it looks, right? So a complete transformation has happened. So industrialization has completely transformed cities all across the world. So now that we have understood how important industries are, let's list down the merits. The first merit says that industries have helped in the creation of current import-export market. So we saw that industries have helped India to become self-sufficient, and now it can export special goods or special commodities, right? So this way the foreign currency is introduced in the country, and the import-export market expands or keep expanding as the industries keep developing or working. Right. So industries have helped in the creation of the current import-export market and bringing in the foreign currency. So trade is taking place all across the world between different nations. Other than that, industries have made goods and services more affordable. So with the introduction of modern machines, human labor has reduced or become more easy. Right? So the goods like paper and glass, if you remember, in the pre-industrial phase were very expensive and could be afforded by only rich people. So these basic goods have now become easily available or affordable by the middle class as well as the lower sections of the society. Other than this, now since goods and services are available to a larger population, it has helped us improve our lifestyles, right? And also our medical care. So drug formulations, as you saw, is a special commodity that, as per the report of 2018, is an important export good of India. Makes it very evident that India has enough of medical care or good care for its people, and so it is also being able to export these drug formulations to other countries. A very obvious point, as mentioned many times, that industrialization or advent of industries led to providing jobs to a large population and thus eradicated poverty in the less developed nations. Industrialization have also helped people to specialize or focus on specialization. They have realized that specialization is very important, right? So majority of unskilled laborers have now been able to specialize or become skilled laborers with the help of education and technicalities in these industries. Before moving on with our lesson, could you tell me whether the following statement is true or false? Industries help in bringing in foreign currency. Is it true or is it false? Yes, the correct answer is that the statement is definitely true. Industries do help in bringing in foreign currency and help in the expansion of the current import-export market. So now that we have listed down the merits, we must not run away or we must not avoid the demerits of industrialization. Though industrialization has provided us with many benefits, with many goods and services, and helped us boost our economy, it has also had a negative impact on our lives. How is it so? So you see that more than want, it has now become a need for the workers. Why so? So initially, in the hunt of jobs, people joined different factories, different industries, right, in order to live a good life, right? But eventually over the years, these industries have been used as an instrument of exploitation. The workers are being asked or are asked to work for extra hours, and they are not paid or for those extra hours, right? So a surplus profit is being benefited out of these workers without paying them the extra wages. So this way, workers and laborers are being exploited across the world. Other than that, in countries like India, child labor is an important component of these industries or of many such industries, which is not right legally. We know that child labor is banned or illegal in countries like India, but unfortunately, many children under the age of 14 are bound to work in these industries in order to fulfill their basic needs. Thirdly, living conditions around the developing factories are not always better, right? Why so? So taking the reference of the example that I have mentioned a while ago of Tisco that was established in Jamshedpur, it led to the boosting of it led to the development of the entire region as a whole. But we also have to keep in mind that the establishment of these industries, or rather any industry, leads to taking away of the agricultural fields, or maybe the breaking down of settlements. So it is causing harm to the people who live there and also people who live around these regions. Most of us have a realization that industries cause various pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, air pollution, right? So these different kinds of pollution have made the life of people living around this area very, very difficult. It has led to various health problems which is now to be taken care of. Lastly, it has created a foundation for global warming and climate change. So as I've just mentioned that industries lead to various different kinds of pollution, air pollution, water pollution, as well as noise pollution, right? So by air pollution we mean that industries tend to emit carbon dioxide primarily in large quantities. And we must know that the emission of carbon dioxide leads to the increase of global temperature, right? So just now we talked about the different kinds of pollution that industries cause, right? Air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution. So talking of air pollution, we know that industries tend to emit large quantities of greenhouse gases, which may primarily include carbon dioxide along with methane, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, and many other such gases. So with the emission of these greenhouse gases, the global temperature or the temperature of the earth has eventually risen over the years, which has led to global warming, which then tends to change the climate of the earth. So this has negatively impacted the climate of the earth and is leaving behind an unhealthy environment in the hands of a future generation. So we just saw how industries providing us with so many benefits also has some demerits, right? So now that we have listed down the demerits of industrialization, we must not forget that industrialization has helped in developing the less developed nations and contributed to the global economy. So countries like India shows signs of becoming a leading economic power, and the key factors for this growth can be listed down here. So the very first factor says that a young and rapidly growing working age population is present in India, right? So young brains are working together, that is leading to the overall development of the country. So here young brains are brainstorming different new ideas that is helping India to becoming a leading power, right? So it's helping India to work on different new technologies and contributing to the modernization of its economy. Other than that, we see that rising education and engineering skill levels have further helped us in the growth of manufacturing sector, right? So as I just mentioned that the young brains are brainstorming new ideas to work on new technologies, right? So the engineering skills have developed over the years, and this has contributed to a huge extent in the growth of the manufacturing sector. Lastly, the growing role of the middle class in supporting the growth of consumer market, right? So the consumer market you see is majorly run by or driven by the needs of the middle class people. So most of the lower section society cannot really afford all the goods and services that are present in the market, while the upper class people can afford international goods as well as goods from these markets. But majorly these markets or consumer markets are run by the middle class people, right? Okay. So today in this video we learnt what are industries, It is an economic activity that involves the production and manufacturing of goods from raw materials. These industries got mechanized or modernized with the advent of Industrial Revolution. Right. So Industrial Revolution played an important role in improving the standard of living for people and also helped in contributing to the world economy or the global economy. Right. We also listed down the merits and demerits of industrialization and understood that countries like India is now showing signs of becoming a leading economic. So we can confidently say that industries have played a major role in our lives and is continuously playing a major role in our life, thus improving our life every day. So in the next video, we'll be learning about the factors that lead to the establishment of a particular industry in an area. So what are the factors that determine the location of an industry also needs to be understood. In this lesson, we were able to understand both negative and positive impact of industrialization and the different industries. We understood how British in the very beginning used industries as a means of exploitation, especially for developing countries like India. We further understood that industries have led to providing opportunities for job for a large population. It also has given important means of establishing the import-export market and bringing in foreign currency. It has further helped us in obtaining goods at a lower price and thus help in the overall increase in the standard of living. However, it also has some negative impacts. As industries grew, the exploitation also grew in intensity. The workers are now exploited for the surplus value and they're not given enough wage for the extra hours of work. So though industries have economically benefited all the countries and wherever they are present, but it also has negatively affected society and its economy. In our next lesson, we will be learning more about industries and its different types. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock test. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it is rewarding too. So register for free now.